Factor today, ladies and gents, where A is not 1. Okay. Different teachers teach this concept differently. Okay. If you have learned it a different way and you like the way that Miss Glick taught you, or Miss Boyd, or Miss Perez, or something, doesn't hurt my feelings. As long as you guys know what you're doing. So I'm going to rewrite this problem up here, 6x squared plus 7x minus 5. All right, yesterday we did problems where the a term, that number in front of x squared, was 1. We just said, what are the factors of the last number that add to give you the middle? Okay. In this case, we can't do that. So we're always going to look for a GCF first, which we'll talk about when we're done with this because factoring completely. But guys, you're going to multiply a times c. So I get negative 30. All right, I'm looking for factors of negative 30 that multiply to give me negative 30, but add to give me 7. So again, you don't have to write the factors out, but if it helps you, do that. So I have 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. So what could I use to multiply to give me a negative 30, but add to give me 7?
Positive 10 and negative 3.
Okay, so watch what I'm going to do here. X plus 10, x minus 3. Now check. 10 times negative 3 is negative 30. 10 minus 3 is 7. We're good. But here's the difference. If you just left it like that, that's not factored right because your a term, guys, is 6. So what I teach my kids to do is to take whatever the a term is and put it underneath both factors that you found. And then you simplify. Some of your teachers taught you to put it in the front. I don't know how, there's all different kinds of ways, which is perfectly fine. I don't care as long as you get the right answer. This is how I do it. So I say to myself, okay, 10 divided by 6, does that simplify? Can I simplify that into a different fraction?
5 over 3.
Okay, so x plus 5 over 3. What about 3 6? X what, minus 1/2?
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is not a pretty whole number. 5 doesn't go into 3 nice and pretty and give us something nice. So what happens here is this 3 in the denominator becomes the coefficient. The 2 becomes the coefficient of your parentheses. So it's 3x plus 5 and 2x minus 1. And what can I do before I turn my test in, before I'm done with my homework, to say, oh, I got this one right. I know I did. Foil it. Good. Now, that'll work every time. And I'm going to do all of these problems like this. But if you learned it a different way and you like it a different way, then do it a different way. Do okay?
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So I have x minus 5, x plus 3. I take my a term, which is 3. I'm going to divide both of these. Does 5 divide by 3 nice and pretty?
No.
No. So 3 becomes my coefficient. I have 3x minus 5. Does 3 divide by 3 nice and pretty?
Yes.
Yes. So this one becomes x plus 1. And then how do I know I'm right? You foil it. Yeah. Don't just take my word for it because I make mistakes all the time. So foil it back out and then you should get your original. Have any of you guys seen this method before?
No, but I think I like it all.
Okay. If you don't like it, then don't worry about it. Do it the other way. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just as long as you guys know how to do it. That's all I care about. All right. Now excuse me?
I feel like I like the other way better, but I forgot how to do it. Can you show us the other way or no?
I mean, there's probably 20 different ways to do it. So I don't know, how your teacher did it last year. Who'd you have?
You said putting it in the spot like that.
All right, look, guys. A times C. So negative 18. Factors of negative 18, that will give me a 3 somehow when I add or subtract. So 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Which one is it?
3, 6.
3 and 6. So I'm going to say y plus 6 and y minus 3. Check here. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. 6 plus 3 or 6 plus negative 3 or 6 minus 3 is positive 3. So we're good. Now we're going to take the a term, which is 2. I'll put it underneath. 6 divided by 2, yes?
3.
Okay, so y plus 3. And then 3 divided by 2. Is that nice and pretty?
No. No.
So it becomes 2y minus 3. Okay, did Miss Glick go like this? Like put it in front, 2y plus 6, and then 2y minus 3? And then you can factor out a 2 here. So it becomes y plus 3 and that one?
Do you like automatically started with the 2? I'm thinking.
Say it again. All right, if the numbers get bigger, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't make it any harder. You just have to think a little bit more. So again, there's no GCF. There will be in a minute when we do some other problems, but A times C. So 5 times 12 is 60. Factors of 60 that multiply to give me 60 but add to give me 19. So 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15, 5 and 12, 6 and 10. What's it going to be, ladies and gents? What's going to give me 19 when I add 4 and 15? What do we like about this problem with the signs?
There's no negative.
There's no negative, so I know that I got to get a plus in both spots. Now, A term, we have to worry about. A is not 1, so I'm going to divide both terms, both factors by 5. 4 divided by 5. Work out nice and pretty?
No.
No, so that becomes my coefficient, 5x plus 4. 15 divided by 5 gives me what?
3.
And then I can FOIL to make sure that I'm correct. Questions? All right, let's scoot on over here to number 4. Again, no GCF, so I'm going to say A times C. 2 times 5 is 10. What are the factors of 10 that multiply to give me 10, but add to give me 11? So it's 1 and 10, 2 and 5. Good. So y plus 1, y plus 10. I know the signs are easy because they're both plus. And then I have to worry about that A term. A is not 1, so I divide both of my factors by 2, which is the A term. 1 divided by 2. Does that work out nice and pretty?
No.
No, so that becomes my coefficient. So it's 2y plus 1. What about 10 divided by 2?
5.
Perfect. So y plus 5. It's the exact same thing as factoring like we did yesterday, guys. You just have that one little step of taking the A term and putting it underneath each factor. That's all you gotta do. Let's scoot on over here. 2 times 2 is 4. What are the factors of 4 that will that will multiply to give me a 4, but add to give me 5?
1 and 4.
Yep, and both of them are plus because everything's plus in the problem. Now, the extra step is the A term is not 1, so you divide each factor by the A term, which is 2. So then I look at 1/2. Does 1/2 simplify? No. So that becomes the coefficient, 2x plus 1. 4 divided by 2 is?
2.
So you have x plus 2. And then when you FOIL that back out, you will get your original. If you don't, you either mess up your sign or your simplification or something like that. But that will work every single time. We're going to do these 4, and then I'm going to let you start your homework, and I'm going to make you stay on with me for a little bit so you can ask questions. This is the type of question that you're going to see on your test. I'm not going to tell you, factor where A is 1. Factor by grouping. Factor by this. You guys are going to get a problem that says factor completely, and you have to answer the question. You have to factor it as much as you possibly can. So this is where we need to remember the first question you ask yourself every time is there a GCF? Every single time. Then, if you have a binomial, so like x and a number, not a plus, I shouldn't have done that. I'm just going to call it a binomial. If you have a binomial, you need to ask, is it the difference of perfect squares? And then you need to look and say, if it's a trinomial, can I factor it like normal? And then if there's 4 terms, when do we use grouping? when there's 4 terms, right? You need to go through that list every single time you have a factoring problem. It's super duper important. So let's do A. I'm going to do it up here since I took up some room. It's 2x to the 4th minus 8x squared. What is the first question you ask every single time you have a factoring problem?
Is there a GCF?
Is there a GCF? Is there one? Can I take something out of 2x to the 4th and negative 8x squared?
2x squared.
2x squared. So watch, I'm going to say 2x squared. I'm going to divide it out of both. And I'm left with 2 divided by 2. Cancels out. X to the 4th and x squared leaves me x squared. Minus, what is 8 divided by 2?
4.
4. And my x squareds cancel out. So I'm left right here with, excuse me, 2x squared times x squared minus 4. What's the next question I should ask myself?
There's a different perfect square.
Yes. Is this right here the difference of perfect squares? Well, we did that a couple days ago. Difference means there's a minus sign in the middle of the binomial, and that check to see if either of these are perfect squares. Are they? How do you get x squared? What times what? X times x. How do you get 4? What times what? 2 and 2. So this is the difference of perfect squares, guys. You still have your 2x squared out in front, but I can simplify this more into 2 binomials. My 2 binomials have x in the front, they have 2's in the back, and what are the signs in the middle? Minus plus or plus minus, however you want to do it. But it's the difference of perfect squares. You guys will mess up on that step. You'll forget to keep going. If this was a plus sign, is that the difference of perfect squares if it's a plus sign? Difference means what? Correct.
No.
Difference means it's got to be a minus. So make sure you're paying attention to that. Please. Please, 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 please. All right, B is another one I want you to make sure you're paying attention to. I'm going to write B up here so we have a little bit of room. It's x to the 5th y squared minus x y to the 6th, okay? Make this real big. What's the first question we ask ourselves every single time?
Is there a GCF?
Is there a GCF? Can I take out any letters that they have in common? They at least each have one x, and they at least each have 2 y's. So I can factor out x y squared and x y squared. X to the 5th divided by x to the 1st leaves me with x to the 4th, right? Y squareds cancel out. Minus x and x cancel out. Y to the 6th, y squared equals y to the 4th. What's the question that I ask myself when I have a binomial left over and there's a minus sign in the middle? Is this what? The difference of perfect squares. Is this the minus sign? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What times what will give me x to the 4th? X squared and x squared.
X squared.
What times what will give me y to the 4th?
Y squared.
Y squared, y squared. So when we do this, guys, I still have my x, y squared outside, but now I have 2 parentheses, x plus x squared plus y squared, and I have x squared minus y squared. Am I done? Am I completely factored?
No.
Okay, why are we saying no? I can't do anything else with the x, y squared. I cannot do anything with x squared plus y squared. That's not the difference of perfect squares. There's a plus sign in the middle. But is this the difference of perfect squares? Is there a minus sign?
Yes.
Yes. Is x squared a perfect square? Yes, I can break it up into x and x. Is y squared a perfect square? Yes, I can break it up into y and y. So this would become x plus y and x minus y. That's a hard question. There's a lot going on there. You guys are going to get to these. You're going to be like, ugh, I don't know if I can stop or not. You have to go through the process in your mind. You have to say, okay, I have a binomial left. Is it the difference of perfect squares? Can I break it down more? You have to go through your list. You can't just kind of look at it and go, because if you do, you're going to miss something. You're going to forget it. So just please make sure that's in your brain. All right, look at this one. What is the question you ask yourself first every single time?
GCF.
Is there a GCF? If you went ahead and didn't factor out the GCF and you went 2 times 40 is 80, found the factors of 80 that multiply to give you 80 and add to give you negative 18, you could do that. At the end, you'll end up taking out the GCF, but it's easier to do it at the beginning and then your numbers are smaller. So if I factor out a 2, you guys agree with me it's a 2? 2, 2, and 2. I'm left with x squared minus 9x plus 20. Okay? Do I have a binomial left over that I have to worry if it's the difference of perfect squares or anything like that?
No.
No, this is a trinomial. It's just a normal factoring problem. So if you say a times c, it's 1 times 20. What are the factors of 20 that multiply to give you 20 but add to give you negative 9? So you have 1 and 20. 2 and 10, 4 and 5. What would my combination be?
4 and 5.
So I still have my 2 out in front. I have my 2 binomials. I have x's in the front. I got a 4 and a 5. I want a positive 20 when I multiply, but a negative 9 when I add. So what are both of the signs?
Negative.
Negative, negative. Good. And then how do I know? Oh, I know I got this one right. What can I do?
Foil.
I can FOIL. I can FOIL the 2 binomials and then multiply the 2 in, and I will end up with what I started with. I go here to this one. First question I ask myself. I know I keep repeating myself because I'm trying to get into your brain. What do you ask yourself every single time you start a FOILing problem? A factoring problem.
Is there a GCF?
Is there a GCF? Is there one?
Yes.
Yes, I can take out a y, right? If I take out a y, I'm left with 2y squared plus 3y minus 5. Now, this is not a binomial. I don't have to look at it and say, oh, is this the difference of perfect squares? But I can factor this. A is not 1. So I say 2 times negative 5, a times c, and I get negative 10. What are the factors of negative 10? That give me a negative 10 when I multiply, but a positive 3 when I add. What are my factors?
Negative 2, positive 5.
Negative 2, positive 5, good. Do I just leave it like that? What do I have to remember? A is what?
2.
My a term is not 1, so I have to take that 2 and put it underneath both factors. So when I simplify this, I get y times, what's 2 divided by 2?
1.
Good, so y minus 1. And then 5 doesn't divide by 2 pretty, so that becomes my coefficient. I have 2y plus 5. And there is my answer. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, so your test is on Tuesday. It's going to be over P2, P3, and P6. Obviously, we spent this whole week on P6, so that's going to be a big focus on stuff in the test. It's factoring. You guys have to know how to factor. I will upload this video right now